Tamo doje bezo zoje ne trahi te jatandra dele. Sho so ye beje jo bezo drama ro ne ge ne de jemo. Sanje jendo me de mo ye no we nan do kya. Chevor jo ye da guru rana mandana gane ataya me sanganje chedon zoje chonol shangyo bado dane shobson je dage shungyo jebe sonam je dola penshe sanje do bar yo sanganje chedon zoje chonol shangyo bado dane shobson je dage shungyo jebe sonam je dola penshe sanje do bar yo sanganje chedon zoje chonol shangyo bado dane shobson je dage shungyo jebe sonam je dola penshe sanje do bar yo. Hola, Major, che stata niente, si è tanto tanto. Tojalana me ba yanda ba zobe sanji je kumbaron ba jine je tobar shago te tobar shawi chedo be choyer ba je senya be kono chanji je semji se sembe gone sember kyo.
Let us cultivate the altruistic motivation seeking complete enlightenment for the sake of liberating infinite, kind mother sentient beings with that kind of bodhicitta motivation that we should all participate in this teaching. Historically speaking, Shakyamuni, after he became a completely enlightened being called Buddha, so we call him Buddha Shakyamuni, our historical teacher, he gave three major teachings, traditionally called three turnings of the wheel of Dharma. And the reason behind doing that is in order to help us sentient beings to follow the path that helps us to be free from the two types of mental obscuration to nirvana or liberation, and obscuration to omniscient wisdom. So if we ask why had the Buddha teach so many different things, or in other words, why couldn't he talk about only one thing and then let that be the case? The rationale behind numerous teachings that Buddha gave or discourses involves that we as sentient beings have different mental dispositions, interests, capacities, and abilities. So in order to suit our dispositions and capacities, Buddha taught many different dharma. Considering the different mental aptitudes and capacities of different beings, Buddha talked about three different types of bodhi. Now, bodhi translated as enlightenment. Buddha talked about bodhi or the enlightenment of hearers or shirvakas. So we usually call nirvana or liberation, but we use the term enlightenment in this case here. Then at a higher level, so to speak, Buddha talked about enlightenment of solitary realizers, or what is called Pratyeka Buddhas, another level of enlightenment. And then he taught finally what we call the enlightenment of bodhisattvas, or the Mahayana, because different practitioners have different aptitudes and capacities, and therefore Buddha taught those three different levels of enlightenment, if you will, and also taught complete structure of the paths leading to these different states of enlightenment.
Somebody come to Mandava in the Yosani, that Chu Kandi in the any Chu Rumba losing the Mambush in the Yamsalang Geodes.
So when we look at ourselves, we're a group of people with different mental aptitudes and capacities. And so we can find different levels of dharma or discourses and practice. We can go and start with a basic or simple form of practice. We can do intermediate level kind of practice, and we can do advanced level practice. Each of us could, start with simple things, if you will, basic, and then we can progress on to other levels and do other, types of spiritual practice. So that's what we talk about spiritual development or spiritual growth.
That any Tangarajo name. Dungi Tangili Tar. Tam Kashi quality Tarquata, quality Tagore, to quality Tabas in Dugamari, Hiji de Bapangni, Hiji de Bapango, Cheta, Dai, you may be about the Hiji de Vaniga Pumba Shabala, a name hard, Tamba Samta, Tagana Chill, special law Samta, the Digging Dugamaris, the Shepherd, the under the Shepherd, the under sound of town, the Gomni, the Yamu, that over Julie Shepherding about the Cougars.
So each of us has two types of mental obscuration, broadly speaking. There is what we call obscuration to nirvana, and which is usually called delusions or nyuntip, kleshas. Okay? And it is not enough for us just to get rid of delusions from within our mind, because there is another kind of mental obscuration that we need to get rid of, which is called obscuration to omniscient knowledge or wisdom, called shitip in Tibetan. Yeah. So in order for us to be able to purify our mind of these two types of mental obscuration, it's not just simply enough to sit and recite some mantras. Okay, mantras are good, powerful. I don't mean to underestimate their value in any sense, but simply reciting some mantras is not going to, cut it. And simply reading some Dharma scriptures or doing prayers is not good enough to get rid of our mental obscurations. So then what do we must do if we want to be free from mental obscurations? Of course, first we need to educate ourselves in matters of Dharma or spirituality, listen to teachings. And then we develop the understanding of the meaning of the teachings. So once we understand the meaning of the teachings, then we need to meditate on the ascertained meaning of the teaching. We call GOM, meditation. So through meditation practice, we develop inner experiences and inner realizations. So that is the process we need to follow in order for us to be able to get rid of the two types of mental obscuration. Of course, reciting mantras is good, but what is more important is to understand the meaning of the mantras that we are reciting. What do they really mean? Okay? Or doing prayers is good, but it's more important to understand the meaning of the prayers that we are doing or reciting. So as we understand the meanings of mantras and prayers and so on, and then meditate, cultivate, insight into these meanings through meditational practice, then we are able to affect our state of mind. We can purify our mind of the mental obscurations, and that's how we grow spiritually, and we liberate ourselves from delusions as well as obscuration to omniscient knowledge. So this is the bottom line, what I'm trying to get across to you. That we could be reciting mantras, we could be doing prayers or other things, but our motivation should be, and we should understand that reciting mantra is to be used as an antidote to counteract our diluted states of mind, our mental obscurations. Praying is good, but the purpose of praying is to use it as an antidote to counteract our negative states of mind. Because we need to bring about inner positive transformation. So therefore, recitation of mantras, reciting prayers, all of these things, what we do, what we call dharma, should be applied to our own state of mind as an antidote. The Tibetan term is nyenpo. Nyenpo has a sense of we use the dharma practice as an opposing forces to challenge and to diminish our negative states of mind.
That condition, rank any candy shaving nandra, logic that kill tender shaving, logic shaving nandra, gonjaving nandra, karish shaving, ko ranjuli being him with patchos dog. Tabrish, so that they turned Masha, Takara Deguna, rank to be at the pay, lumping up in Rogu, tell some as a Congress.
So whether we engage in the study of Dharma or listen to Dharma teachings, or whether we are contemplating Dharma or we are meditating on Dharma, doing the cultivating practice, what we really need to always keep in our mind is whatever we are practicing, is it helping us to counteract our deluded states of mind? Are we able to diminish our delusions a teeny weeny bit? It's okay, a little bit. Or do we still see that it doesn't matter whatever we say we are practicing, our delusions are pretty much remain the same thing. There is no change. They are just as tough as they have ever been. If that is the case, if we are not affecting delusions in our mind, negativities, then we are really not doing our practice properly. Are you with me? Although we say I'm practicing Dharma, but the truth of the matter is that really we haven't been doing it properly because the delusions have remained as tough as they have ever been. We got to challenge our delusions in the mind, and we got to effect some change. Even if it's a little bit of decrease in the delusion, that's fine. But we need to be able to bring that kind of a change. So as I mentioned earlier, that when we talk about spiritual practice, that seems like one thing, but it really isn't. It involves many levels of practice. And of course, it is a wise and intelligent and common sense, if you will, thing to begin from a basic foundation practice, and then we progress next to level. Don't start from somewhere else, up there. But got to go to the basic and start from there and then go up.
So that condition is an ali tambo, Maranso, Rangeli, any ranking on to be donated something. That did a yen, Senji yen like a day, don't have a ship. This is no sometimes that can do any daily tower that should do sometimes make pay some huge of which you pay some taki showers.
So first we try to understand things based upon our own personal experiences. We each of us have gone through so many pains, problems, and suffering. So we really want to understand the suffering that we have been through, and we truly develop the wish that I want to be free from the state of suffering. So once we have certain experience of that based upon our personal experiences, now we focus our mind on other people or sentient beings, and we truly wish them to be free from the state of suffering, which is called compassion. See, first, to develop compassion, we've got to understand ourselves, that we don't want any kind of suffering, and we want, to get rid of them. So when we know that, now based upon our own experiences, it seems like a shared experiences we have with others, now we understand that other people and beings don't want suffering. So now we truly wish them, right? Now we are not kind of faking it, we mean it, because, we know what it means based on experiences, that to really wish others to be free from suffering.
The rank tan yen la senji yen la never shipe driving but that
So one of the basic things, if you will, we need to keep in our minds that whatever problems and suffering that we ourselves have been through and that others have been through, all of these sufferings are the result of outcome of negative karmic actions and harmful actions.
Chen de la pe yen never she men that they round the nigga doing and young duna show hama ni hama then the rank yen never she be debugata did not mean by something grace.
So we may think that, what, in this life I haven't really, hurt anyone or done anything negative, but we got to keep in our mind that maybe in this life, we have not done that, hopefully, but let's assume at least, But then we have to look back in previous lifetimes, and many other previous lifetimes we did, hurt others, and we did a lot of negativities. So the negative things that we experience in our life are the results of what we did in our past lives, the negative things we did in the past lives. So we have to be able to see that connection between suffering and negative karmas that we ourselves did, in past lives.
Round the yen and the yen never she been living with the Hakosuna, that rank yen, say yen never done the Lutanga each, never done Messiah Stamjation Grace. This is not.
So as we, look at this matter, that all kinds of suffering that both myself and others have been through is related to negative karmas and harmful actions. So once we really get a good sense of that, and so now, what kind of a conclusion we make out of that? If that is the case, okay, then it is rationally, sound to think that, okay, I'm not going to involve myself in negative karmas physically, verbally, and mentally. In other words, I will see that I'm not going to use my body, speech, and mind in, doing something negative or hurting others.
McGively doing queens, Gilly Dendro Tankidos. And then McGill rank McGill sab in the tea in Namita Garsten, and the Tanya that to them, Madapi cigarettes, that donating at the Mohammedan Debres, and the Gaily Dendro Tankitos. Rank Gava you be driven in, and then she what and then you comfort over this. I think you told then you comfort tall, and around any debate you at the end, they were doing the risk Canada.
Great Indian sage philosopher Arya Nagarjuna Gompoluru has said, as Geshe quoted the lines from his memory, all kinds of suffering has come about from negativities, but all kinds of peace, happiness, and goodness come from positive actions. So what he's really saying here is that unfortunate states of rebirth in the three bad migrations that we talk about, in the hell, hungry ghost world, lesser kind of animal world, as well as a lot of the baggages that they have to carry, the sufferings, are all outcomes of negative karmic actions. Okay? Whereas the good rebirths, fortunate rebirths that we talk about, in the form of human life, the kind we are enjoying now, or in a celestial world, and whatever pleasure and comforts and kind of happiness we enjoy, relatively speaking, in this life, are the outcomes of positive karmic actions.
Tarang, do you continue in and the city Yelachi, Dungi, Dungi, that Tevata, Devata Dembe, the Malamichi Jeb Shavina, the Namitarang, you don't want you was.
So based upon these statements, the lessons we need to carry in our everyday life is that now whatever I'm doing, I'm walking, I'm sitting, I'm standing, I'm moving, whatever I'm doing, you try to cultivate positive attitudes, beneficial attitudes for other sentient beings. You try to cultivate the state of mind, wishing others to be happy, wishing others to be free from suffering. Okay? And so if we carry those, try to cultivate those attitudes, and at least if it means saying good prayers, may I be able to bring happiness to others, may I be able to help sentient beings free from suffering, whatever actions we are doing in everyday life, I think that brings meaning into our life. So we are trying to cultivate love and compassion in our everyday life for other sentient beings.
That rang the Hubert and Aran Somaloka, and then Aran Somaloka the same Jani, and it gentleman Chris.
So those are some of things I think we should all, including myself, to bring to our mind and pay attention to this and think about this. And I'll go back to where we left off in this wonderful text called a miscellaneous collection of Kadampa Geshe's personal advices.
Kadampa Geshe Bodo and a cord down the serious sumpas. That Miskani Bay Constitution Miskani Sumartash, but she saw Shitani Pandosinta, Toyale, was passing at Nusika numbers and was she Sumbas. Karesumbrasana, Sherry Sanjay jumped in the cheese. Shidan Chicken Sanjay Timbers, Sanjay Tamgi Chess, Sanjay Tamgi Rigsa, Numa Bitch Red J. Geton Yabalis, Shidan Chicken, Sanjay Tamgi, and Sanjay. That's Sanjay Tamgi, the Numa with Jetty Hangaleta, Sanjay Jerix to us in the Mentuta. Nyundre Mapambe, Sanjay Tamgi, the Numa Jetty Geton Yadir. Ane Numa Jetty the Yabashe. A deal, and Sanjay that remember the nation telling you much. You ever inside Sanjay jumped in the church on the Zanani, gone a day in Yambos church, Chubun Jettigaton, soon but that time ye jung. I thought somebody soon.
So now we are here looking at what a great Kadampa Geshe by the name of Geshe Podava he told a gathering of disciples, not to some individual disciples, but a tsoyo means a gathering, at a gathering. So first thing he said that all sentient beings meaning those of beings who have diluted states of mind. That's the understanding of sentient beings. So every sentient being has got as many as 84,000 forms of delusion. The number is correct. 84,000, and because of that, Buddha taught as many as 84,000 forms of discourses as antidotes to these 84,000 delusions.
That's something that can you soon your rest. Then door do nothing. That you will get to tomb, but do Dibayina. Only Georgie Tika wants in door do Tankitan. There's a danger ones in door do Tank your rest.
So Buddha taught so much, 84,000 discourses. But we need to somehow kind of bring all things together. If we are going to summarize, essentialize Buddha's teachings, we can do it in two different ways, right? Because we can do it in terms of, so in maybe modern languages, editing the work so that too many words can be edited out and you bring, the number of words down. It's called sigitiba. So you cut down so many words and bring down to the essence in terms of word presentation. Or we can summarize, which is mostly in terms of the meaning. He taught so many things. What is really trying to get, across to us, so we can summarize the meaning of the Buddha's teachings. So in terms of words of expression, if we talk about some summary in terms of the words of expression, Sikhidiba, so Buddha taught so many things, but all of them are brought within what is called the three baskets of teaching, Tripitikas in Sanskrit. There is what is called basket of ethics or moral discipline, Vinaya Pitika, Dulvetenu in Tibetan. There is the basket of discourses or Sutra Pitika or Dodetenu. And then there is the basket of wisdom or knowledge, Abhidhamma Pitika or Ngumbetenu. So within these three baskets, for lack of a better, nicer term in English, basket, but the Pitika, then we can bring all the words of expression of Buddha's teachings.
That the Geshe Tsultim Gyeltsen, and then Sumchi and Geshe Shepe, the Doatang, Nambatang, Lava Tsultim Lava, Lava Tsultim Lava, Lava Tingin Lava, Lava Sherij Lava, Lava Sunjan, those who do race.
Now, in terms of the meaning, all of Buddha's entire teachings can be summed up in three, if you will, contents or subject matters. And they are the three higher trainings, Labasum, training in higher ethics, which is called Tsultim Gyeltsen, training in higher concentration or Samadhi, Tenzin Dorjee, and training in higher wisdom, and Sherab, Gyeltsen in Tibetan. So within these three higher trainings, these three subject matters, are the real essence in terms of meaning of all the teachings Buddha has given us.
That is somebody, Laba Mission, that Laba somebody, Rangi Shepala, and they Geshes Shape, Geshes Sik Tangi, then you Sumkin, then you Sumbutata, and you Shekuata.
So these three higher trainings are not so much to be kind of memorized, but they are to be internalized because they constitute realizations. But then how do we realize this or cultivate in our mind? If we ask, how everything begins is education. We need to educate ourselves in Tripitikas or the three baskets of teachings. So we need to educate ourselves in those teachings and then put it into practice and then experience, internalize the subject matter of the three baskets, which are the three higher trainings.
That the Lava somebody in those that Rangi Sheku, Chesa, Lava somebody Rangi Sheku, Tambo Lava Karek, Tambo Rangi Sheku, Rangal, Yane Sejuke, Lava Sunjin and Yane Sejuke, Chiku, the Karesana, Lava Sunjin, Lava Chagaris.
So now, if the three higher trainings are to be internalized, actualized, cultivated within our state of mind, so which of the three higher trainings we should begin first, if you will? Okay. So we need to begin with training in what is called higher ethics. Okay. Shila, or the ethics, is where we begin. Because ethics constitute the foundation. Based on that foundation, then we cultivate samadhi or concentration. So once we have ethics and samadhi or concentration, those two higher trainings, now based on those, we are able to cultivate training in higher wisdom. So training in higher wisdom is, so to speak, built onto the other two higher trainings.
That is, you remember saying Pan Sanjipan, there's yet the just the Karasana, Hava Kerij Lava days, Ranju Shabina, the Hava Kerij Lava D, you remember the Kiji Devani Pani, Sanjikoma Toba Res Kanando.
And then an emphasis is made on training in higher wisdom, and that in Tibetan means there, that only refers to the training in higher wisdom that really helps us to get rid of or to counteract the two types of mental obscuration, delusions and obscuration to omniscient knowledge, and then we could become completely enlightened person.
No, so that dena santo dena se junse dish na singo that dena lava sumji tangbo lava tsurinji lava the karisana lava sun lava tsurinji lava nis kunji yemo impes le tangbo we laji zo tsurinji lava shegus tsurinji lava then lava ninji yin the yiris lava yin dingi lava the hiraji lava yiris so ngarazo le tambo waten so kari hagu tambo tsurinji lava the tempo ya position the lab guris kanangdo.
Therefore, for those reasons, we should begin with practice of training in higher ethics, because that is the foundation practice to be able to cultivate the two other higher trainings, so that if we would like to internalize the three higher trainings, we should build the foundation first, which is the practice of ethics, and then we could cultivate samadhi or concentration, and we can cultivate higher level wisdom.
Hola, está de segundo. Tsurimje ta, ta tsurimje laba la lagdi sane ali tsurimje ani muntu shote ta, zodo de muntu tsurimje zodo karre de te kheba shagure kan.
So we as beginners should primarily focus on training in high ethics, and to be able to practice ethics, we need to be aware of and understand what are what are called opponent forces here. What are the things that could be obstacle to cultivate ethics?
Yeah, and alita mangai chen dushina ya bondo. Ta chirim se jani chirim la chimba ko sungu ya chirim da ra dushon ko sungu ya chirim da ane shangyu se bi domba dombe chirim ane sanga ko dombe chirim se manda wa tinde yores. Ane tinde son ne sumondo.
Maybe I should first tell you about different levels or types of ethics. We can talk about ethics which are which are related to lay practitioners who are not ordained as monks and nuns. So we can talk about lay practitioners' ethics. Then we can talk about ethics which are related to monastic ordinations as monks and nuns. Then we can talk about bodhisattva ethics at a higher level. And then we can talk about tantric ethics or the vajrayana ethics. So those are different types of the levels of ethics that we could practice.
Ta chimba ga sena mendo ta tamji ku song ya de. Chimba ina ra razu ina tamji ku song ya de kari kya go reso na mege jobon ko chirim de samalok song ya jeres.
So now there is, so to speak, a basic level ethics that everybody should keep it, whether we are monks or nuns or no monks or nuns, or just regular people, lay people. There is what we call the ethics of abandoning 10 negative actions of body, speech and mind. Now that is a basic ethics which applies to one and all practitioners.
Now tate karezen tab kipa hige na yawondo. So ke pangure, so ke pomba de pamba ina, so ke pomba da semji yo bas da ti ene so ke pangure. Cheta tagana yike so ke ba. Ane majin balem pangure. Ane chimba ina ton loyen pangure. Tenzo pamba de chimbe chim jagure.
Maybe I should just quickly run through the 10 negative actions that we need to abandon or get rid of or stop doing. There is what are called 10 negativities involved not to kill, or not to take a life. And so this is a case where, like, when we develop sort of a commitment in our mind that I commit myself not to take the life of somebody, I'm not going to kill, then it becomes an ethics. And so in the case of a lay practitioner, let's talk about. So when you make that commitment in the mind, I'm not going to kill anyone, or that I'm not going to steal things which belong to others. And in the case of a lay person, I'm not going to indulge in adultery, we call sexual misconduct. So then you are keeping, for example, ethics related to to abandon those three negativities. So those three negativities are related to our body, right? Physical action. Okay, we develop a commitment. I'm not going to kill, someone. I'm not going to steal. I'm not going to indulge in adultery as a layperson. Then we are keeping the ethics of physical, activities.
To make it sit up, Kayamambo, Jorogo, Tenzin, maybe that Nike, Nachesa, the Pango.
And then there are four negativities of the speech that we need to abandon, and that's why ethics to abandon them. And the four negativities are, lying. So lying is a form of cheating. You deceive others, you cheat others, verbally. So lying. And tama is causing disharmony or division, right? So you kind of cause disharmony among good friends so that they can never be friends, or that even if there's a possibility for becoming friend and you just, spoil the whole thing and say something, and they can, they divide, we divide among peoples. Harsh speech, unpleasant speech, unkind words, and the last one, which I still don't know whether English captures really well, is we translate as idle gossiping. So basically, just talking much ado about nothing. We think like we're talking something, there's really nothing there. And what included in the idle gossiping is, we kind of talk about, for example, how can we kill someone? You just plan it all out. Just talk about discussion about how to kill someone or how to steal somebody's, things. And so those are considered as useless, meaningless part of idle gossiping. And those are considered as negativities.
So that each one at that, some of that, Napsen, Nelson Lotas. Yin Jalaya, what I think, Yin, do nothing to around to Tagishabatella, and Napsims. Nurses, Yin never say the same stuff, stand some the time the Shabatel, Nursims. And then Lomba Towers and the Lende Meva Tower, the Chu Yaboyum, Chu Dumna Pay, that and Digger, and then Kunde with that, someone, and the Calgary.
And then there are three negativities of mind. Of course, we are talking only about three here, not that there are only three, then we would be lucky, I think. Anyway, that's my footnote for today. So there is what we call covetousness. We covet for the nice and good things that other people have. He got it. I really want it for myself. That coveting for others' good is a negative state of mind. And harmful intent, nursem. So it could be very malicious. It could be like just wanting to harm someone or hurt someone. That is a negative state of mind. And then there is what we call wrong view or distorted view, lokta in Tibetan. Now the distorted views include a number of things. If we, deny the outcomes of law of karma and actions. For example, we say, the good karmas bringing good results and bad karmas bringing good results is all, whatever. And it's totally denied that. So that kind of a denial constitutes a wrong view or distorted view. Or that if we say, this dharma sharma thing, really it has nothing to do with. We kind of underestimate and, cast aspersion onto the power of dharma would also be a distorted view.
That answer, that's Pomba in a point, Sembatella, and that Miguel Stream Secretary, the Rajunta Chamber Kangaroo Sungaches.
So those are the 10 negativities of body, speech, and mind, and we all need to, abandon them, whether we are lay practitioners or lay persons or monks or nuns. Of course, now I need to add, I think, footnote. In the case of this adultery, which applies to the lay people, for the monks and nuns, it really means not to indulge in any kind of sexual activity. Okay, and so with that, things that all these 10 negativities are what we all need to abandon.
No.
And when we commit ourselves to do that, then we are abiding by the ethics of abandoning the 10 negative actions of body, speech, mind. That was a mouthful to say.
And that raju ta ne
So then, of course, there are other higher level, ethics such as bodhisattva ethics and tantric ethics. Only those who take them, then those are things are relevant, and I don't think I need to talk about those here.
Dan de sondo, churib je mente sho de cha yin bes. Churib je mente sho da, churib never thinking karresan de cha res kanam ali.
So remember a little earlier we said we need to know what are the obstacles or opposing forces to cultivate ethics. And here is mentioned that a major obstacle is attachment, dosha. To be able to observe or practice ethics, a major hurdle that we need to cross over, if you will, is attachment. Yes. So what makes us transgress our vows and commitments is the attachment. So that's why it is a real culprit. Yes.
Shere nyema ba tanje chi tsawa yan de cha yin skan. She dan jige na ne nyemo kande jige ne den zu chama jo den de cha tho ne ta timu maru ba ta tsawa shi. Di thol de cha ku ne be jani ta tela tin yung go yaris kanang do.
Attachment is a very serious, if you will, delusion that we have. Of course, at the core of us, there is what we call ignorance, which is the source of all other delusions. But after the ignorance, the next, level delusion, if you will, is attachment. So in that sense, many other delusions do arise from, or at least with the assistance of attachment. So attachment is a good assistant to Mr. Ignorance.
Sure, then this one was sure nyama ba tanje tsawa yan de cha yin song yate de cha de kar le sana ane rang le ke pran ji rang kin ji ta ane rang da ta dang ji mari patel sung do was.
And here the expression that is used is that in a generic sense, attachment is a source from which other delusions come about. Now, what do we really mean by what kind of attachment? Now, in this case, the term attachment is used, but it's to be understood more in terms of self-centeredness and self-grasping. As we have talked a lot, how all delusions arise from self-grasping and selfishness or self-centeredness. Self-cherishing attitude, selfishness, self-centeredness is in some sense is a form of attachment. Because of self-cherishing attitude, then we find ourselves, experience many other types of delusions and engage in negativities.
Dele ane kare setan kanre sanas decha ke wang ke lesa ne to khola changu dos
So like motivated by attachment or attachment as an underlying kind of a motivation, we engage in negative karmic actions, and then those leads to the suffering outcomes. So if we want a formula, then this is like attachment plus the negativity is equal to suffering.
The chat any call a king Chapana Hinskana,
great Tibetan master Manjushri Lama Tsongkhapa or Rinpoche, who's sitting over next to me here in the center, said that attachment is that which really binds us to samsara. If we think that what binds us within samsara, what is holding us here, it is attachment. So it is the current of, metaphorically speaking, it is the current of attachment that kind of throws us into the ocean of samsara. So the most important delusion that we need to fight with and get rid of is grasping at self, or self-grasping, which is also understood in this case as attachment. So our two main delusions to get rid of are self-grasping and self-cherishing attitude. So as we understand that self-cherishing attitude is a main source of so many other delusions and suffering, we should also try to understand that cherishing other sentient beings is a main source of goodness, peace and happiness. So we are going to stop there a little bit early today because we have a number of people who have taken what is called one-day Mahayana precepts. So their precepts involve, having to eat just one-time meal before noon. Yeah, so we are cooperating with them and supporting their practice. Oh, I have prayer requests here. So we have, 3 people who have passed away. Excuse me if I don't say the names right, but actually people don't say my names right either, so it's okay. I'm called Mr. Dorjee, figure that one out. Johanna, Molchon passed away. Kazu Jason passed away. Tia McKinnis passed away. So 3 people are no more with us. And John, how do you say the last name? Whoever wrote it. Back surgery. Huh? Or Schlatek. That's it. Has back surgery on Monday. So prayers are requested for all of them.
Sanji Temper Tajurin the Nepata. Joe Igino Betrebe Tinship Tamban Kuzi Cabe Temperature, Tujindo than Bemilu Yawatan. Chur Dunkin Show Pumanaji, 20 Shawana Isam Robata, Chur London Dota, Pachemi Patre Yawata. And then did you come to the end? When Timmy goes to the Henny, Tinjulu Tatan, Twinching Lututa than Bemilu Yawak.
Together this morning we have accumulated merit or positive energy. And we dedicate our merit for the long life of His Holiness the Dalai Lama and all the holy masters. May they live long and be successful in fulfilling their visions, benefiting sentient beings. May Dharma, spirituality, the source of benefits and happiness, flourishes throughout the universe. May all spiritual practitioners from all traditions remain healthy, harmonious, and be able to successfully overcome obstacles on the way and succeed in their spiritual development and fulfill their spiritual aspirations. May this and other world environments be free of all kinds of unwanted pains and problems, and beings find peace, happiness, prosperity, and spirituality.
Last
but not least, we dedicate our collective positive energy for all kind mother sentient beings to be free from the fears and dangers of two types of mental obscuration, and may we all become Buddha soon.
Tenzin Dorjee, Guru